Well, once again, I am late to the party with talking about a trendy finance topic, but as always, I like to make sure I completely understand this before sharing with all of you my thoughts. Now, I'm sure all of you are already aware of with what's going on with Wall Street Bets and Reddit and GameStop and Wall Street and hedge funds, all of that nonsense. So I'm not going to go into the fine details about all of that because there's hundreds of videos about that already. What I do want to talk about today, though, is my experience in investing, because I think that'll help give some context for where my opinions come from about this current state and with what's going on. And then I will talk to all of you about my actual thoughts about this and what I think we should be expecting to happen next. So with all that said, let's go ahead and play an intro, get that out of the way, and we'll get this show on the road. Actually, skip the intro today. Let's just get going with this. So, hey everyone, my name is Matt. Thanks for joining me today. As always, just want to say anything I say here, not advice, don't take it as advice, it's just for entertainment purposes only. You guys know the drill with that. Also, keep in mind, this video included, if you like this video, it's a 5-cent donation for charity, and then if you subscribe because you haven't already, that is a 10-cent donation to charity. And I'll pop those numbers up so you can see how far along we are with that. It's something I'm doing throughout all of 2021. So, crazy times that we're actually facing here in the stock market, and unlike anything any of us have ever seen before, but admittedly, very entertaining to watch as well. So I'll start off here with talking about my background. Again, this will help give context for later on in this video. So I did work in finance. Many of you know that I worked in finance for a few years, and the company I worked for is Vanguard. Now, it's not something I've said before because I've had some bad things to say about working for them, but I absolutely love Vanguard's investment style because I saw how many people became successful through their approach. And it's really simple, it's really easy to follow along with, and takes almost no effort. So to me, that was just the perfect combo of a way to invest. And that's why when I do my stock analysis each week, I always try to look at companies, we look at their financials, we look at their competitors, we really try to get a good understanding for this company before purchasing it. And that's also why I don't typically invest like a very short-term investor or in speculative investments, just because that's not the way I was built in finance, if that makes sense. So with that out of the way, I hope that gives a little context for my investing style, because obviously what we have going on here is at the complete opposite side of the spectrum. Now, admittedly, when all this first started happening, I followed Wall Street Bets for a while now. I'm on their Reddit, and while it's not my investing style, I like seeing a community that can actually talk about investing with jokes and memes and everything, because I don't have too many friends of mine that are as into investing as I am, so it's good to have a few people, even if it's over the internet, that I can actually have some finance jokes with. So I was on Instagram the other day, saw them talking about GameStop, and I was like, what on earth is going on here? This is not a stock that should be going up to $80 a share, let alone going up to $300 a share. And at first I just kind of brushed it off because I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And then I was listening to the Motley Fool, and they explained what was going on, and they explained the whole short positions were exceeding real positions, and basically Wall Street Bets was taking advantage of public information that a hedge fund made a huge mistake thinking basically nobody would notice. And sure enough, that hedge fund is definitely not in a good place right now. And once I kind of read that and got the context, I was like, this sounds pretty interesting. So hopped onto Reddit, and I saw some really beautiful and heartwarming stories from people that were making significant money through this GameStop trade. I saw somebody say that they were, devastated because they found out their dog needed a surgery that they couldn't afford, and then they put this trade in and were actually able to pay for this dog's surgery and then have some money left over. I saw somebody say that he can now afford to pay for his wife's MS treatments, and even somebody that's paying for their sister's Lyme's treatments. So I saw some really heartwarming stories with this. And admittedly, reading things like that, as many of you know, I am self-employed and it's been kind of a rough year. I'm also in the process of starting a business with two of my friends. So I was like, I could definitely use some money right now too. So I hopped into a position, not GameStop, full disclosure, I was doing Naked. And I actually made close to $1,000 from doing this. That's neither here nor there. I'm just incredibly proud of making a quick $1,000, so what can I say? So at this point, I'm making money. I'm all on this team with, let's take all these stocks to the moon. Let's all get rich here. We don't care about the hedge funds. We all want to make money. And then came the news. And I read probably some of the most ridiculous headlines that I have ever seen in my life. I saw them calling this market manipulation. I saw them saying Wall Street Bets was an alt-right cult. Thank you, Financial Times. And then Financial Times basically said, no, they're not really, but it just makes a good headline. And I was like, this is just absolutely absurd. First off, this is not market manipulation because, in my opinion, what's the difference between a group on Reddit talking about a stock and everybody going into it versus, not to throw Jim Cramer under the rug, but when he has one of these, you gotta buy it now stocks, or when an analyst gives a buy rating on a stock or a sell rating? All of these have very similar effects to the volatility of that stock, or at least the trading volume when that news comes out. So this is not market manipulation. This is just a general conversation about a stock. So I was like, can't wait for us to prove these people wrong because remember, I'm still all on board with this. This is not my investing style at all, but I'm all about it at this point because I'm making more money than I've seen in a very long time. But then came Thursday morning. And Thursday morning, I'm there. I got my at this point, 300 shares of Naked ready to go. I'm looking to buy more. Market opens. And I see that Robinhood has gone down. And I can't access my account. I was like, oh, that's strange. I just kept refreshing, trying to get into this position. And finally I could. I was able to do one purchase. Then I was going to buy some more later on that day. And then I saw that restriction that said you cannot buy this position. You can only sell this position. And that's the part that really got me upset. Because that is market manipulation. As many of you know, the economy, supply and demand, this is economics at its finest. When people are buying stocks, it's going to raise the price, obviously, because there's going to be less supply and an increase in demand means that price is going to increase. When you stop the ability of people buying something, that is going to increase the supply, decrease the demand, and decrease the price of a stock. And I was like, that is incredibly strange that they can get away with doing that. And I also heard TD Ameritrade was doing something similar. Now, I have accounts elsewhere, and none of them had those restrictions. So I was like, this is something weird and Robinhood specific. I'm surprised that they're able to do this. So I was like, with us not being able to buy this, I'm just going to try to sell half my position because I guarantee it's going to drive the price down. So I tried to sell out of half my position and I got an error code. Tried again, error code. Did this about 3-4 times, still getting this error code. Went onto my computer, same thing. iPad, believe it or not, same thing. So I was like, whatever, I just watched this go down. I just lost $300 in this time frame. Let me just try selling the entire position. Did that, immediately went through. And that really raised a red flag to me. Now, for me, I had a pretty small position in this. I mean, $1,000 to me is a ton of money, but I know a lot of other people had significantly more invested into these companies. And the problem here is I was seeing hedge funds basically taking control of the trading platform and saying, stop this because we're losing too much money, but they weren't caring about the retail investor. And that's what's upsetting to me because I'm a big believer in everything should just be a level playing field. I love level playing fields. It's just what makes the most sense to me. And, I always have a hard time taking advantage of situations, and I know it really gets me upset when I'm the one that's being taken advantage of, which is what happened here. And part of my biggest issue with this too is because it was more than just restricting people from trading a stock based on some news. It was the fact that this stock was clearly actually creating a legitimate bubble. I mean, this was a bubble every way I look at it. There's really no way to go around it. Now, I do believe the people from Wall Street Bets could have had the ability to kind of slow down the pricing to make it not just like a burst and have everybody lose everything, but that was clearly not the intentions of the people that own Robinhood. They basically came in here with their, pins and knives ready to go and pop this bubble. And I think they don't realize that that's going to have a long repercussion on the retail investor, because some of these people were putting the rent money that they didn't have previously into this, and they were finally making money to pay rent and then maybe spend that money elsewhere to continue to stimulate the economy. But instead, they're going to lose it all and then some, because Robinhood makes it weirdly easy for new investors to buy on margin, write naked calls, which that's a whole nother video. I can gladly explain it there. Yet they restrict the investors. So to me, this looks like a scheme any way I look at it. Now, I know I've said this is upsetting, whatever, at least a million times here, and I apologize. I really don't have a script for this. This is like my 5th time trying to film this, and I just get so worked up, I'm like, nah, it doesn't make sense, start over. So I'm just going to finish it through this time. But I guess the point I'm trying to drive home here is what's really upsetting for all of us investors to see is that these big hedge funds have been doing these strategies for a long time. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theory person by any means, but there's a lot of things in finance that are a little bit of a gray area. I mean, if you want to, again, I'll make another video on this, but look up dark pools of liquidity, or maybe there's a reason why SPACs are becoming a little bit more popular than a direct or than an IPO, or we've actually seen companies do direct listings. And think about that process. I'll let you do your own analysis on my thought process there. But the lack of transparency, and then to basically see these hedge funds say, going crying to the people saying, stop, we're losing money. It's just, that's part of the game. I mean, investing is not a game, but clearly these hedge funds were treating this as a game, and they lost. And then they were so upset that they were like, we're taking all of you down with us. And clearly, that just can't happen. As we see now, Robinhood is under some scrutiny, and I think that this is going to leave Robinhood with a few outcomes. Now, admittedly, and I didn't want to make a video on this earlier because it just sounded so ridiculous. I wasn't sure if anybody would actually listen to what I had to say. But I've been kind of thinking Robinhood is a prime target to be acquired. They have a great customer platform. They have a few flaws that they clearly need to work out. And I think if a company like Square, who launched their own brokerage, or SoFi, stay tuned for their IPO, could really help this Robinhood out in a very big way if they were to acquire them. So what I think we should be seeing now, or what I believe should happen, and might not, but this is my thoughts, is I think that the current owners or investors in Robinhood need to separate themselves from the company. Sell your shares or just get kicked out. I don't really care which one. You could sell your shares, have your money, and go cry about it next time you lose it. And I think that leaves Robinhood in a position to actually either be acquired or shut down as a platform. Now, I don't think they should shut down as a platform because it is a very easy way to get started with investing. In fact, maybe too easy. But with the right kind of leadership, with what we've seen with SoFi or Square, can actually help this be a very beneficial tool for new investors. So honestly, that's an optimistic thought for me because I hope that this, Citadel, and I don't even remember the name of the hedge fund, they don't belong in this space because they don't care about the retail investor. And admittedly, like Vanguard clearly cares about the retail investor. So this, something like this would never happen on Vanguard's platform because it's not that easy to get into margin accounts or options. Trust me, I've tried. So I think Robinhood kind of needs to batten down the hatches a little bit and actually make this still easy for new investors, but not as easy for everybody to just go into margin accounts and using leverage to buy positions or writing naked puts without even knowing the difference between a naked put or a covered call. So that is going to be a huge issue, but obviously one that I'm hopeful could be resolved. The other thing I do see happening is I think we can expect some new regulations around the way that financial info is going to be presented, which could hurt us people on YouTube. I mean, my channel is not big, so whatever. But, there are some pretty big finance channels out there. And, my intentions here is to help you become a better investor. So I really hope this doesn't hurt what I've been trying to do all along. What I also hope doesn't happen, though, is that this gives hedge funds a reason to keep this kind of information to themselves instead of being required to make this public information, because then the cycle will repeat. That probably won't happen, and I just hope it doesn't. But where do we go from here? Well, obviously, this is not going to actually change my investing style. Now, this does make me a little bit more open to more speculative positions or not disregarding people that are doing crazy things. Because if there's an opportunity to make money, I'm on board. I'm on that team. We're all trying to make money together. But I'm still going to be very much a long-term buy and hold investor. I just wanted to take advantage of a time to make a little bit of money. I think that we can also see some maybe new restrictions or regulations around frequent trading, or maybe trading volumes could be capped throughout the day. Obviously, none of this is going to be good news, but admittedly, as much fun as this has been to watch, I think that this was the rude awakening that Wall Street has needed for a while, and I don't know. That's about all I have to say. So, again, sorry that this was a rant here. I'm actually very excited that this did happen because it's about time that the retail investor did win, and I'll just leave it at that. So, I'd love to know all of your thoughts on this. Again, sorry if this is just more or less of a rant of mine. I don't have a script, clearly, so I've gone off on multiple tangents here, but just want to give you some context as to how I feel about this, what this changes, and what I'm seeing looking forward. And I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. So leave a comment below with what you're thinking. Remember, if you like this video, 5-cent donation, subscribe. That's a 10-cent donation. That's big money. And that's all. As always, I'm still really bad at ending these videos, so thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this. You could be anywhere in the world, and you're right here with me, and I really appreciate that. But I'll let you go ahead, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.